welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. You can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I loves me some tea. Per, I am currently just drinking on a little bit of water here because hydration is important. And yeah, so drink your water, people. Drink your water. But I also have my cup mug here. So always, always, always. And you can get your cup mug as I party. I'll tell you the information. You can party. You can get your cup mug at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So there are no excuses. Get your cup merch. Period. Woo. So we are back. We are back again to talk Battle Camp. We're almost done. We're at episode 7 and 8, and then we'll be back tomorrow with episodes 9 and 10. Um, so we are going to dive right into talking about 7 and 8. But before we do, I need y'all to do me a quick favor. If you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button right down there, right below. It's free to do it. Yep, free right now. Just do it right now, real quick. Because we are on a mission here at the Cup TV to get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year so we can open up a lot of fun things, unlock a lot of fun things that we're allowed to do here on YouTube once we get 1,000 subscribers. So we appreciate that if you would join us and help us get to that goal. So please hit the subscribe button, share with the friends, and let everybody know if this is the place. The Cup TV is the place to come to if you're looking for information about almost all things competitive reality television shows. We got a lot of fun things coming your way. We are covering Battle Camp, of course, and we're still covering Survivor, Amazing Race. We're about to start covering Destination X when that comes out later on next month. We have a lot of shows coming. The Genius is coming. We got shows coming your way. So check us out if you are a fan of competitive reality television. We are going to be here talking all things of that. And our mission has spread across all four of our networks. All of our channels are trying to get 1,000 new subscribers as well. So if you're a fan of drag or drag race, go hit up at the Cup Pod. That channel is popping. We are about to jump into All Stars 10. We have Morbid Drags over there as well, and more things to come. Also, if you're a fan of Eurovision Song Contest, where the competition is getting hot and there's a lot of things happening. So we got a lot of content coming out on that channel. Please subscribe to at the Cup ESC. And if you are a fan of WWE wrestling, we had just come off of WrestleMania season, and now Backlash is coming right around the corner. So we're about to start talking more about Backlash. So let's get ready for that. So at the Cup ringside is where you want to go if you're a fan of WWE wrestling. So check us out. Help us get to our goals of 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year across all four channels, but especially this channel. uh, Am I showing a little bias? A little bit, because I'm working so hard on this channel, and that's it. That's the only reason. I love every channel equally, but I'm working extra hard on this channel because I really want to get there. So help me out. Help a sister out. Thanks. But let's get into Battle Camp, episode 7 and 8. It's we left off where we had the showdown between Avery and QT, where Avery was going around telling everybody that QT threw the challenge because she was trying to diminish her threat level, and QT confronted her about it at the wheel ceremony, and it was a mess, y'all. When I tell you, it was a lot going on, and me personally, I always enjoy it. A little bit of a little bit of mess. So, but so far we had the votes were Chase had 2 votes, Kyle had 1 vote, Morgan had 1 vote, Gio had 1 vote, Trey had 3 votes, QT had 4 votes, and Avery had 5 votes. So that's where we left off. And so now we're spinning the wheel, we're spinning the wheel, we're spinning the wheel. And the first person who gets eliminated, because this is a double eviction, by the way. So double elimination, eviction. Oh, I'm at my big brother stage already. It's coming, so I'm ready for it. But um, the wheel's spinning, and the first person who the wheel lands on was Avery. Avery's out. All that, all that yapping and yapping and yapping about QT and what she did and how she did it. And Avery's the first. Avery's out. She's out, and she's still going on and on about how she played this honest game. But I'm like, girl, I didn't vote for anyone of my teammates. Yeah, but you made sure other people did. It's still the same. It's still the same. You did the same thing Trey did. Trey didn't vote for Louis. He just made sure the votes were on Louis. You didn't vote for QT, but you made sure the votes were on QT. So you did the same thing. Projection much. Like I really I don't even know what to say about that. Like I've been just annoyed watching it and seeing that. But yeah, it was the same thing. It was the same thing. But she was going on. She was gonna be an honest player, and she played an honest game, and she's out the door. So, oopsies. Peace out. See you next. See you when I see you, which is hopefully never. Um. So the next bid happens, and we still have a lot of people with a lot of votes on the board, and the wheel decided that it is going to land on Geo. So now Geo, two bears have left the game once again. And it's like wild, wild. Geo's name was on there once, and the wheel landed on him. And I only have one thing to say about that. Keep QT's name out your mouth. Keep QT's name out your mouth. Because if you keep her name out your mouth, baby, you stand. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Because Gio, I liked Gio. I did. I really liked Gio in this game. I was like, okay, I like Gio. But then he just jumped on the bandwagon without even asking QT and not even like they can't fathom people making mistakes. And it's like, oh my God, you never made a mistake. Like it's so easy. I can't be like advantage is an easy word to a lot of people. But when you're under pressure and a lot of things is happening and you're trying to figure out, you don't want to get launched, you don't want to get wet. You don't want to mess up for your team, and then you end up messing up because you go mind go blank. It's like, oh, it happens, but they couldn't fathom that from QT, and it was just like, no, no, she just did it on purpose. She did it on purpose. She did it on purpose, and you just jumped on it without asking her, and you kept telling the story without even talking to her. It's just wild to me. It was just wild to me that that was the case, but whatever, whatever. Gio's gone. Polly's upset because that was her friend. Um, but it was what it was. He's gone. Peace out. So we then see um Chase is back in the all the Eagles are back in the camp in the cabin and they're very happy because they're all still there. But Chase starts questioning Trey's loyalty. He's like, because everything Trey admits like the things that Avery said about him were true. He did throw Louis under the bus. He did ask not to be voted for. All of that, all of that, and he was just like, I, I did do that, but and so Chase is like, so what are you saying now? What's your loyalties? What are your loyalties lie? And she was like, I am a loyal person to y'all. I like this cabin more than I like that cabin, so we're good. Don't worry. I got y'all's backs, all of that. And everybody's like, okay, okay, cool, 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 cool. So The next day happens, they get ready for the next challenge and all of the things. They eat breakfast and they're having small talk and getting prepared for the day. So they get told to go to the wall for their next challenge. They head to the wall, bears with 4 people, eagles with 6. Um, and so they get to the wall and the challenge is rock climbing, but instead of it being rock climbing, it's called shock climbing because the players have to climb the wall, and along the way there are some shock buttons to shock your opponent to try to get them off the wall. The first one to the top wins. And so, of course, with disproportionate teams, some of the Bears are going to have to go twice to keep up. And so the first matchup is between Nick and Kyle. And it was not that close. Nick kind of ate Kyle up. Nick has rock climbed. Kyle has never, but he's an athletic, so he thought he can just do it. Didn't go that well. Didn't go that well. Um, Nick wins the first round. So the next round was Polly versus QT, which was pretty close. Like the entire time they were going up the wall, they were shocking for shocking, matching for matching, and then QT falls off the wall. So now she has to start over, and the shock buttons that she had along the way are now, not they don't work. So she just has to keep going up until she gets to the button that she didn't miss. Now, Polly has a huge advantage and huge lead now that QT has fallen off the board, but Polly is exhausted. She is done. Um she's done. She is exhausted. And so she is trying to get her way up the board. She's stuck going up the board, but she's exhausted. And she gets to the top. She's trying to go. QT is making her way back up to the top. And then when she gets to a button that she didn't hit before to shock Polly, that takes Polly out. She falls. And so QT ends up winning that round. That was really competitive. One of the most competitive rounds that we see this entire time. So QT wins. So it's 1-1. Then we go to the next matchup, which is Trey versus Shuby. And no competition. Trey annihilates Shuby in this one. It was no competition. So we are up the Eagles 2-1. Then we have Chase versus Morgan. And I was like, oh, this is not fair. That's what I was like, that's not fair. Chase versus Morgan. And it wasn't fair for Chase because Morgan ate him up. Morgan was just like, tuk, 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 like she climbed that wall so fast. Chase lost big time. Big time. Like got ate up. So Morgan wins. So now it's 2-2. Then it was Georgia versus Kyle. Kyle kind of figured out what he needs to do, got better. Georgia lost that one. So it was Kyle for the win. So 3 for the Bears, 2 for the Eagles. The next one was Lorenzo versus Morgan. And this time Morgan didn't have the best as good of a showing as she did against Chase because she was already tired. Been shot so many times already. So Lorenzo beats her easily. So it's tied up again. And so we have to go into a tiebreaker. And Nick, they decide Nick, what Chase pretty much decides Nick for um, to go again, even though Trey kind of did it faster than Nick and Lorenzo did it faster than Nick. But they said Nick. Trey felt a little put off by that because they weren't listening to him. They would not even consider letting him go again. Like they were like, no. So they voted Nick, and so QT was like, I'll do it since I've only done it once. And it was no contest. Nick kind of blew her out of the water. The Eagles end up winning the whole thing again. And it was just a little deflating for the Bears, but the Eagles are soaring and they were very excited. So we get back to camp. Eagles are happy. They're very excited about, not being on the board, but there is no more immunity. So, everybody can get it. Everybody can get it still at the votes and whatnot. Um, Chase, when we get to the punishment, the Eagles have to go and decide who they're going to get to put in the punishment. And Chase is not letting Trey talk. And he wasn't let Trey talk in any situation in the punishment room, in the cabin when they were talking about, you know, the what just happened and their win. He was just cutting off Trey. He was not letting them talk. It was very rude, very dismissive. He was very dismissive of Trey in this moment. And I was like, okay. I probably would be annoyed too if people talked over me and wouldn't let me complete a statement. And it continued into the punishment room when Chase was just talking, and Trey was trying to add an input because the punishment was called force fed, and you had to make they will have to eat something that was kind of disgusting. And so the group had decided QT, Kyle, and Morgan. And Trey was like, knowing that we know that Morgan doesn't like to eat a lot of things and she would truly suffer eating gross stuff. Do we want to do we want to put her in? Do we feel like that's right? She would suffer the most out of anybody who would have to eat something disgusting. She would suffer the most. And they all looked at him like, we do a Morgan, Kyle and QT. He was like, oh, okay. Nothing I say. Nothing I say. So he's feeling dejected from his own team, like he is a castaway, and nobody wants to talk to him. Nobody wants to deal with him, and so he's like, "Oh, okay, all right." So Kyle and they try to talk to Trey and was like, we can protect you. We will keep you safe if you want us to vote out. So you can vote out somebody on your team, and we'll vote out whoever you want. Da da da. And Trey is kind of finding that intriguing because right now he has no other options because his teammates aren't listening to him. They aren't talking to him. They aren't strategizing with him. And I understand that because I would be the same way. I'd be like, if you don't want to talk to me, I'm going to talk to somebody who do. And if it means going against you, ooh, oh well. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just sit here and just wait for y'all, be a sit duck and wait for you to do something and get me out? Or do I take initiative and do it myself? Now, the only situation I have with this is yes, you can do all the things, you can get people's names on the wheel, but a wheel is still the ultimate decider. So it's kind of like you do all this work for what? To get the people's names on the wheel, only for the wheel not to land on them. That would be my only hesitation on going against people because it's like you don't have the final say. So it's not like a vote. Like you can get a voting block and just vote people out. You don't have that choice to do that. It's not a vote, it's the will. So it would have made me a little hesitant, but I mean, I understood where Trey was coming from, and I think Trey was playing, and I think a lot of people are playing. They were playing from the more people names I get on the wheel, the more chances they get to go, which is true. But we've seen the wheel doesn't always act that way, but it is what it is. But then we see Lorenzo and Georgia. They catch Trey going into the Bears camp cabin, and they go sneak over and they hear Trey talking about going against the Eagles and how he doesn't feel like he's welcomed in that cabin and he's not part of the team, all of these things. And so they go back and tell the Eagles, and they're very upset. They're upset that Trey is talking to the other team and conspiring with the other team. And so it's kind of just like, oh, well, hmm. And so then Kyle goes and tells Chase because Trace said he wants to get out Chase, which, duh. He wants to get out Chase. So Kyle goes and tells Chase, "Oh, you got a target on your back, and it ain't from us." And so now Chase is upset, and Chase is mad. He's like, "Oh, he coming for me. That's oh interesting." And so now he says that in front of Chase and Nick, and so Nick and Chase are now upset with Trey, and Trey is trying to go after Trey is trying to come after Chase, and all the people are looking at everybody else, but the Bears can't. So they think. So they think. Um, it's a couple of people, Lorenzo and Georgia, who never takes their eyes off the other camp because it's like, why would we go against our own right now? Or why would we go against our own? We just go against the other team. That's keep hitting them, keep hitting them. So we go to the wheel ceremony and we get the votes. Morgan eventually has 3 votes, two, uh, one for the loss, one for the challenge. I mean the punishment, and then Georgia voted for her. QT has 2 votes, one from the loss, one from the punishment. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell y'all what the force fed was. And the punishment. The punishment was for force fed. I just skipped all over the place. My bad. The punishment was force fed. They had to eat disgusting things. So the first dish was mac and cheese and fried roach. Big old fried roach, about the size of your hand. Fried roach just sitting on top in the mac and cheese. They all get through that round. The second round was pancakes and worms. This is what Morgan said, no, thank you. I'm done. She tapped out. So Morgan loses. QT and Kyle get through the pancakes and worms. And the third dish was pizza and a tarantula. Kyle gets through it. QT can't get through it in time. So Kyle ended up winning the punishment. Sorry, I forgot to tell y'all that. But so, like I said, QT had a vote for the punishment she lost and for the loss of the challenge. So she didn't get any votes. Shu only has one for the loss. He didn't get any votes. Georgia has 1 vote that came from Morgan. hmm Lorenzo has 1 vote that came from Kyle. Kyle has 2 votes that came from um, Lorenzo. But Kyle has the vote, 2 votes, one for the loss, and then a vote from Lorenzo. And then Chase has 3 votes, one from Trey, one from QT, and one from Shuby. So those are all the votes that happen. And we spin the wheel, and then we stop. We move on to the next episode. Going into episode 8, Kyle has put in the work. They put in the work to make sure that the Bears side gets more votes, or they get a lot of votes, as well as um the Eagle side gets a lot of votes, as well as the Bears. And like I said, Morgan has 3 votes, QT has 2 votes, Shu has 1 vote, and Kyle has 2 votes. But then we have Chase, Lorenzo, Georgia, and Trey all have votes as well. So they have 8 votes between them, and they have 8 votes on the other side. The Bears have 8 votes, and the Eagles have 8 votes. So it's literally split down a minute 50-50 on each camp who has votes and the most votes. So they're hoping that this plan will work out and that we will lose an Eagle and not a Bear, and we lose Morgan. All of that work, and you still lose a Bear. And it's like, wow, wow. Wow. All that work and we still lose a bear. And the Eagles are all still strong, six strong to now three bears. The three little bears. Um, He's like, a bear still went home. All that work. And so he's so emotional. Kyle is such an emotional player and an emotional person. He was livid. And he's just like, oh, this is so, oh, I can't believe it. I don't even know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do. I have no other moves. We did everything we can. I'm like, Kyle, it's not up to you. Yes, you can do all the work, but it's the wheel is actually the decider. It doesn't matter what you do. It's up to the wheel. And so he's so emotional. QT has to calm him down. And they have to figure out what their next step is going to be. And so the next day they wake up and like, okay, we got to come up with a new game plan. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? So they decide that the best plan is to try to convince Trey to throw the challenge so the Bears don't end up on the wheel and they will protect him. And then he can have all the people who he doesn't like on the wheel, and then we'll have more votes against people like, on the wheel. Now, all of that seems like a decent idea, but I fear they weren't looking at the big picture. It's six eagles. It's three bears. Even if Trey does throw a challenge, it's five people coming for him. And so he will definitely get five votes against him if he did that. And then the three of you don't vote for him, and and then you have four that won't vote for him, but he'll still have five names on his name up there five times. And then are you all going to pile on one person? Can we all agree on one person? I don't even know if y'all all would agree on one person. It didn't feel like the best or obvious choice for them. But they're gonna try, and they're gonna try to convince him to do it. And they do try. They try, and Trey is like, let me think about it. Let me think about it. Yeah, because I feel very awkward on the team. And even if Trey tried to, and he tried to like smooth it over with the Eagles, he still kind of felt like they maybe didn't believe him. Like, you have to show more than you can say. Like, actions speak louder than words. So he would have to show it more than just say it. But he still felt very low on the totem pole between them. And so it was interesting. It was interesting to see how that was going to play out. Um, so they get called to go to the lake for their next challenge, which is called Shots Fired. And one player is going to shoot a ball from a slingshot on the tower. And the next person, the other way, will have to catch the ball in the net, pass the ball off to somebody who's going to jump across floating platforms to then shoot the basket to get a point. And so, of course, you have to have three people to play this game. And the Bears only have three people, so they are going to play every round, and they don't have substitutes. There are no substitutes in this. You have to play the round every time. And so the Eagles have time, to they can substitute people in and out, and they don't trust Trey. They don't trust Trey, so they bench him right away. They're like, "You will sit on the bench." So the first group was Chase, Georgia, and Nick. Nick was going to shoot. Chase was going to catch. Georgia was going to take it across the platforms. And on the Bear side, QT was going to shoot. Shuey was going to catch, and Kyle was going to shoot the baskets. It started off a little shaky for the Bears because Shuey was missing a couple of balls, and Chase was catching the balls. But then it got a little shaky for the Eagles because Georgia was getting tired jumping from platform to platform. She was getting the wind knocked out of her because she was falling. And once the ball hit the water, it was not in play anymore. So they had to catch it and not miss, miss it, throwing it in the ball, and they couldn't fall into the water and drop it. So she had a couple of times where she fell into the water. She was getting tired. She was jumping and missing. And Kyle was able to catch up, but he was getting gassed out and exhausted and tired. But at the first round, the Bears did win the first round, and they swapped it out, and then so the Eagles had to bring in Trey at that point, and Kyle was exhausted, so Shuby was going to jump the platforms, and then Kyle was going to catch. Kyle was doing really good at catching, but Shuby wasn't doing that great at jumping the platforms because he was slower, and Trey was jumping the platforms and was doing it. The first ball he got, he missed, and I was like, oh, he's going to throw the challenge. He actually is going to throw the challenge. But the next time he came back, he just started making it, making it, making it. And it was obvious he was not going to throw the challenge. And he was like just getting back and forth, getting back and forth. There was no like he was going to do it. And he was doing it really, really well. And he was eating it up. So he decided not to throw the challenge. And he was eating. He was eating. And the Bears end up losing, and the Eagles end up winning the challenge again. And so now all of the Bears are on the wheel again, and all three of them are going to have to do the punishment because it's just three of them. So no decisions need to be made by the Eagles. Kyle is upset, but he's mad at Trey. He's mad at Trey because he's just like, you didn't do it. It did. Yeah, we was going to protect you. Blah blah blah. So he's mad at Trey. Trey is like, it didn't make sense. Mathematically, logically, it didn't make sense. And so Trey is telling the Eagles that he did have a conversation with Trey, and they did try to confront. Um, I mean, well, Kyle is trying to. He's gunning for Trey, and he's upset. And Trey tells the Eagles that they did try to make a deal with him to get him to throw the challenge so they can end up on the board. But he didn't want to do that because he's not going to be disloyal to his team anymore. That all that's gone, done. And so they all felt good about it, except Chase. Chase is still a little leery, but he was glad that he didn't throw the challenge. And so Kyle is talking to Chase because Chase and Kyle are best, friends in this house, and this came in together, and they had each other's back throughout, and they wanted to make sure that they had each other's back throughout. Um, and so Kyle was trying to get Chase to vote for Trey. Um, and he was like, Shuby will do it with you. So Shuby is talking to Trey. And Kyle is talking to Chase, and Kyle like, Shuby, come here, Shuby, like so reckless, so reckless. So Shuby comes over, and he's like, yeah, Shuby, we gonna vote for Trey, right? And Shuby's like, what? Like he literally bulldozed Shuby to try to for Shuby to tell Chase that he's voting for Trey, and Shuby's like, I mean, we gonna do what we gotta do. And so she's like, yeah, we got this on lock. So Shuby is like, oh my God. So now Shuby has to walk back over to where Trey is, and Trey's like, what was that conversation about? He's like, I'm nothing, just talking about, votes and stuff. He was like, it's coming to me. He's like, she was like, I mean, no, it's not. You can't do that. That's crazy. Um, and so Shuby is like a little annoyed with Kyle because Kyle is such a bulldozer. Like he doesn't have like tact in the game where you need to like things need to be discreet. And he has none. No discretion at all. And even like that's how they got caught the last time. Like he calling Trey out across the thing. Yo, Trey, come here, yo. Like you need to like walk up to Trey. We be over here. Like, don't have people see what you're doing. Move in silence. Move in silence. Be stealthy. Kyle do not know how to do that. He do not know how to do that at all. At all. And so Trey is like, okay. So Chase and Kyle are still talking. He telling everybody they still like buddy buddy. And so he's just a little sus about it, which he should be. So the punishment is called detention, and they have to take a test. It's like a bunch of random questions that they have to take, and whoever gets the most questions right wins. And Shuby ends up winning this challenge by 1 point. He had 9 questions right. QT had 8 questions right, and Kyle had 4 questions right. So easy challenge, easy punishment, honestly. The Eagles decide, but the Eagles have a powwow meeting at the hot tub, and they decide that they're all going to vote for Kyle. Everybody's going to vote for Kyle. Everybody agrees to vote for Kyle. Chase is a little conflicted, but he eventually says he will do what he has to do, and he's going to vote for Kyle. And so he's like, okay, we're going to vote for Kyle. We're going to do what we got to do. He hates it, but he got to do what he got to do for the team. And they go vote, and Chase is acting very broken up about his decision to actually vote for Kyle. He want to do it, and he hates that he had to do it. It just sucks. So he's just like, oh, no, I'm just going to take a shower, rinse this dirt off from me. I'm just going to take a shower. That's too much. So George was like, do you think he actually voted for Kyle? And she was like, I think he did. Because Trey and Chase has a conversation, but he's like, I think he did. I think he did. He seemed very broken up about it. And they're like, good. And they're like, he does, he feels that way, but it's best for the game, blah, blah, blah. So we get to the wheel, and the votes are as follows. Chase gets 2 votes from QT and Shuby. Trey gets 2 votes from Kyle and Chase. Kyle has 7 votes. 1 for losing, 1 for the punishment, and then 5 from, a vote from Nick, Trey, Georgia, Polly, and Lorenzo. They all vote Kyle because that's what they said they were going to do as a team. And Trey is like, oh, did you vote for me, Kyle? He was like, yeah, of course, I voted for you. And then he looked at Chase, was like, did you vote for me? And Chase was like, one of those votes are for me. I couldn't write my best friend's name down. That's just not who I am. I can't do it. And so Nick was like, we all made a plan to vote one way and somebody didn't. And Trey was like, he's like, I just couldn't. I mean, we're all about honesty and but I guess not. And Chase is like, I did what I had to for me. Personal. It was a very personal move for me. QT has 2 votes, 1 for the loss and 1 for the punishment, and Shu has 1 for the loss. And the wheel is spinning. The wheel is spinning. And we'll find out in episode 9 who goes home. Y'all know what's coming at this point. We know how the format is working. So we know that's how it is. But we are going to be back to talk about episodes 9 and 10, which is the final 2 episodes of the series. So we're going to be back to wrap this thing up very soon. But we appreciate you taking the time to listen and check out our coverage of Battle Camp. If you have some comments, let me know in the comment section what you think about this show. What you think about all the drama. Whose team are you on? Team Trey, Team Chase, Team Kyle. Whose team are you on? Who are you rooting for? And if you watch the whole thing, we got one more episode to go, and you can just let all your thoughts out in the next video. But we appreciate you taking the time to check us out. I personally appreciate you so much. Please hit the subscribe button on your way out. If we are on a mission to make 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year, and we would really appreciate your help. So if you can just hit the subscribe button, share, let people know that this is the place to come to get almost all things competitive reality television. Yeah, check us out. And you can follow me here and all of our other channels are at the Cup Pod, at the Cup ESC, and at the Cup Ringside. We appreciate all new subscribers. We appreciate you so much. You can follow us on our audio podcast links if you need to check us out on the go. And you can follow us on our Patreon and get some very great, fun, exciting things happening in Patreon. So join our Patreon as well. And don't forget to follow us on our socials at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And you can follow me as well at those places. My Instagram is right there, and then everything down there is TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, all those places are the same. So follow me if you like. And don't forget to get your cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. You see it floating across that screen. Get your cup merch. And yeah, we're gonna get out of here because I ain't got nothing else to say. So cheers, y'all. Bye.